welcome back to PSE English, and I hope all of you are doing very well. This short video I'm going to share with you one of the very useful and easy tip about how to change a sentence from active into passive voice. Okay, so please stay tuned to the end of the session so that you will understand how to change a sentence from active into passive voice. Because in most of the cases in letter writing or sending emails, or when you write a business letter, most of the cases we use passive voice formation. Okay, passive voice sentences are mostly preferred. So to change a sentence from active voice into passive voice, I've come up with a very easy code. So the code is OBPBS. Okay, OBPBS. So you need to only remember this code OBPBS, so that changing a sentence from active into passive voice is going to be much easier. Okay, much more easier. So when you change a sentence from active voice into passive voice, the first thing is that you need to identify the kind of sentences. There are different types of sentences in English. Now look at declarative, interrogative, okay, declarative, interrogative, imperative, and exclamatory. So first you need to identify what kind of sentence you are going to convert into passive voice. Okay, so declarative sentences are kind of sentences which make a statement or provides a fact. It can also talk about your, to offer an explanation, your likes, your wishes, your opinion. All these kinds of sentences are often called declarative sentences. Okay, interrogative sentences are questions. It can be a WH question like, what are you doing? When are you coming back? Or it can also be yes or no questions like, are you coming? Yes or no is the answer. Okay, and then imperative sentences are sentences which can be a command, order, request, advice, suggestion, warning, reminder, and so on and so forth. Okay, for example, if you say come down or please help me with this, all these are examples for declarative sentences. And exclamatory sentences are sentences which consist of sudden expression of your feelings, sudden expressions of your emotions, such as when you see a beautiful place, you may definitely say that, wow, what a beautiful place it is, what a wonderful place it is. So it can be talked about to express your surprise, to express your sudden feelings of anger, sudden feelings of grief, sadness, okay, shock, so and so on. Okay, in this session I'm going to just focus on only the first type of sentence, that is declarative sentence, which can be a statement. Okay, offers a statement. So when you change a declarative sentence from active voice into passive voice, you need to only remember OBPBS. Okay, this is a code, and if you could remember this code, changing a sentence or converting a sentence from active into passive voice is not going to be a big deal for you. So please stay tuned, and if you're watching my video for the first time, I would like to request you all to consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, PSE English, and press the bell icon to get new video updates. So let's continue and see how the steps have to be followed. As I said, OBPBS, and how this has to be followed when you change a sentence from active voice into passive voice. As I told you, the focus in this lesson is only on the declarative type of sentence. Okay, so O stands for start with the object. Okay, you have to start with the object. Start with the object. So a declarative sentence will have a subject, verb, and object. So only if there is an object having a transitive verb in such a declarative sentence, then only you can change the sentence from active into passive, which I'll tell you about these kind of things at the end of this video. Okay, so start with the object. Use a be form. Okay, there are so many be forms like is, am, are, or was, were, be, being, and been. So I'll help you about how to use these be forms correctly in formation of passive voice sentence. Then past participle of the verb. So the active voice sentence will have a verb. So use the past participle form, that is, for example, if it is take, took, taken. Okay, think, thought. Okay, so use the past participle of the verb like eat, ate, eaten. So the third form. Okay, and then use by. You have to just write by, which can be omitted in some cases. I will tell you about it later. Okay, and then bring down the subject of the active voice sentence. Okay, so let's go through some of the examples and see how the steps can really work out when you change an active voice sentence, which is a declarative type of sentence, into passive voice. So as I told you, the first step is to begin with the object. Okay, and second step is to use an appropriate be form. So there are so many be forms to be choose from: is, am, are, was, were, be, been, and been. So when do we have to choose is, am, are? Is when the sentence in active voice has the present form of verb, present tense. If the verb in the active voice sentence is in simple present tense, that is subject which is immediately followed by a verb in present form, use is, am, or are. Okay, and if it is in simple past tense, that is if the subject is immediately followed by a past form of the verb, use was or were as a be form. Then if there is any modal auxiliary in the given sentence, that is an active voice, for example, modal auxiliaries like will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might, must, etc., use be as the be form along with the modal auxiliary. And if these expressions as has, have, or had, if these expressions are used as a primary auxiliary verb, not as a main verb, are used as a primary auxiliary verb in the given sentence, be, seen, there's been, along with has, have, or had, and if the verb is in ing form, that is, if the sentence in active voice, if the sentence in active voice is in present or past continuous, which follows ing form, use being as the be form. Now, when you begin with the object in the beginning of sentence in passive voice, okay, when you take the object from active voice to begin the passive voice sentence, please remember these things. For example, him, her, me, you, us, and them. So if the active voice sentence ends in any of this pronoun, which is in the objective case, it has to be changed into the corresponding subjective case. So if they accept this active voice sentence ends in him, begin with he, her, begin with she, me, begin with I, you, there is no change. Us, we, and them begin with they. And when you use the by plus active voice sentence, the subject of active voice sentence in passive voice, please remember to make these changes. Okay, so if this active voice sentence has the subject, okay, so when you bring down the subject, if the active voice sentence has the subject, that is he or she, you, we, they, and I. So when you use this at the end of your passive voice sentence, please remember to use the cases changed, that is changed into objective version of this subjective case pronoun. Okay, so he will change into by, him, similarly by her, by you, by us, by them, and by me. Okay, just remember these changes when you bring down the subject of active voice sentence to the end of passive voice sentence. So use all these expressions, okay, us, them, and me. Now let's look at these examples which are in active voice and then see how to change them into passive voice following this small code or the small technique. Okay, so begin with object. So let's find out the subject, verb, and object in the given sentence, and then we follow the first step, that is begin with the object. So the house, okay, so that is the object. We begin with the object. The second step is to begin to use a be form. So the verb, look at the verb here, the verb is in present tense, which is, see, the subject being immediately followed by the present tense of the verb, which is in simple present tense. So we use is, am, or are. Okay, so the house being singular, we use is, and then use the past participle form of this verb clean. So cleaned, okay, past participle form of the verb, and so object be from past participle of the verb used by, okay, cleaned by, and then subject of the active voice sentence. So the subject here is she, so I told you she will change into her. Okay, so she cleans the house is changed into passive as the house is cleaned by her. Now similarly in example number 2, they broke the glass. Okay, so this is the object, this the verb, and the subject. So we follow this step, begin with the object. So the glass, okay, begin with the capital letter. The glass, okay, broke is the past from the past tense of break. So we use was or were. Please refer back to the be form, use of be form if you still have any confusion. Okay, so the glass being singular, we use was, and the past participle of the verb, that's break, broke, broken. So was broken by, okay, then by plus subject, that is by, subject being they, change it into the objective version of pronoun, that is they changes into them. Okay, so if you have a confusion regarding the use of be from or change which happens with by plus subject, please refer back to the explanation on how to use the correct be from and what changes are to be made with, by plus subject when you bring the subject of active voice sentence to end the passive voice sentence. So let's continue to next type of sentence, which is in continuous tense. You might have noticed I'm writing a story. Okay, so here the subject is I writing. You might have noticed that it comes in ing form. So when the verb happens in ing form, it could be either in present progressive or past progressive tense. That is also called as present continuous or past continuous tense. Okay, so you might have noticed the use of ing. So subject, verb, and object. So begin with the object, a story. Okay, a story. Now what you have to do is, before you use the be from, which is going to be being, which is used when the sentence is in progressive tense. Okay, so a story, bring it down, make the necessary change. A story, am cannot fit here, so a story is. Okay, then we have to use the be form, that is being. Okay, so please make a note of this. A story is being. Okay, use the past participle of the verb write, that is written. Okay, by, written by, I changes into me. Okay, so a story is being written by me is the passive voice form of I'm writing a story. Okay, now let's go to the next one. That's we were making boats. So this sentence is in past progressive tense, which is also called as past continuous tense. So here also ing form of the verb is used. That's why being is going to be the right be from for the sentence. Okay, so we begin with the object, that's boat. Okay, so begin with the object, boat, and then use the be from. So before you use the be from, bring it down. Okay, here there isn't going to be any change because it is according to the verb, that's boats, which is in plural noun. Okay, plural noun. So the boats were. Okay, so just as what it did here, we used the be from after the primary auxiliary was taken down. So were being, use of be from is being, and then use the past participle of the verb making, that is make is changed into made. Okay, M-A-D-E, made. Okay, so boats were being made. Okay, by plus subject, we changes into us. Okay, by us. Okay, so we get the correct the final answer as the boats were being made by. Okay, so please use by us. By us. Okay, now when it is in perfect tenses, that is whether present perfect or past perfect tenses, what happens is you can see have or had. Okay, we have visited Bhutan. Okay, this is in present perfect tense, and they had invited me is in past perfect tense. So in present or past perfect tense, we use the be form, that is been. Okay, we use this be form been in present or past perfect tenses. So what happens in while changing the sentence into past voice is so this is the subject, okay, then verb, object. So we follow the step, begin with object. So Bhutan. Okay, now use this auxiliary down here with changes if necessary when there is a problem of agreement between the subject and the auxiliary. So we change have into has, as it is a singular noun. Okay, if this is a plural noun, there isn't going to be any change. Okay, so it can be easily brought down. Okay, Bhutan has, now use the be form. Okay, has been visited, as it ends in ed, the same form is used as the past participle. Okay, so Bhutan has been visited. Okay, visited by plus we changes into by us. Okay, by us. Okay, similarly in the sentence here, okay, they, subject, invited me. So subject, verb, object. Now, when you bring this object to the subject's position, so when you bring this object to the beginning of the sentence in passive voice, what happens is this object, which is a pronoun in possessive case, especially in this is in objective version, has to be changed into the subjective version. If you have confusion regarding this, please go back to that part where I've explained the change in cases of objective and subjective pronoun. So me changes into I. Okay, I. Now had, there isn't going to be any change here. It can go with subject plural or subject singular. So I had. Now we use the be form been. Next, the past participle of the verb invited. Okay, I had been invited by. Okay, now you have to say by. They changes into by them. Okay, by them. Okay, so they had invited me is an active voice, and the passive voice formation of the sentence is I had been invited by them. Now moving on to the next one, you should do it. Okay, in this case you might have seen there is our use of modal auxiliary. Okay, John will complete the work. Here as well, you can see will as a modal auxiliary. So when there is a modal auxiliary in the given sentence, please remember to use be as the be form. Okay, be is the use of be form for sentences having modal auxiliary, and it has to be used along with the modal auxiliary given in the sentence. So to change it, we begin with object. Okay, subject, verb, object. So begin with it. Okay, it. Now bring down the modal auxiliary verb. So it should. Now use this be form, should be done. Okay, now you can say by you, should doesn't change. So by you. So the answer is it should be done by you. It should be done by you. And the next one, John. Okay, so modal auxiliary will. John, subject, complete verb, and the work is the object. Okay, so the work begin with modal auxiliary. Okay, the work, bring down the modal auxiliary. So begin with the object, bring down the modal auxiliary. Will, use be from, will be, complete, change it into past participle, completed. Okay, by this case you can see a proper noun has been used, so there is going to be no change with such nouns. So by John. Okay, sorry, by John. Okay, so John will complete the work. The work will be completed by John. Now, if these expressions comes in subject space, like someone, somebody, etc., what happens is, in this case, as I told you in the beginning of the session, in certain cases the by plus subject is omitted. Okay, it's not included. So let's say rope, my purse is the object. Okay, so my purse. Okay, stole is the past tense, and this sentence is in present simple, past simple. So we use was, stole, stolen. Okay, my purse was stolen. So it's not required to say by someone. Okay, but had it been the name of a person here, if it is Tom, okay, if it is Tom stole my purse, in such case you will have to use my purse was stolen by Tom. Okay. Now, I told you that certain sentences which do not have passive forms. Okay, so I'm going home. The child cried bitterly. So trying to change this passive active sentence into passive voice would be a disaster. Okay, it would be a great disaster because I'm going home. The verb going is transitive verb. Okay. So this is a transitive verb which is not followed by an object. Okay, so there is no object in the sentence, and therefore these sentences cannot have passive voice formation. Okay, passive voice construction. So this is the end of the session today, and this session I have discussed only with the declarative type of sentences. In the next coming sessions, I will continue with the next type of sentences, that's interrogative and imperative, whereas in exclamatory cannot have a passive voice from. Okay, so if you like the video, please subscribe, share, and press the bell icon to get the new video updates. See you again. Take care. Bye bye.